I think we've seen that in other states. So I just wanted to make that brief comment. We certainly have seen that for our big game hunters as well as our wing shooters.
Thank you, Commissioner. Are there any other comments from either the commission or the public? Commissioner Teague.
No, I know we'll publicize this a lot, but I think it's, worth a pretty big deal that we're adding, basically doubling the opportunity for elk hunts in Tennessee. So, it's exciting to me, growing up in West Tennessee, the thought of hunting an elk, anywhere but out west was unthinkable. And obviously we have that opportunity, and now it's even greater than before. So hopefully, people will know about it, especially on my side of the state where it's not talked about as much. And, we'll continue to get greater interest and greater turnout, and as far as trying to draw tags. So anyway, I'm just excited about it, and hopefully everybody will find out and they'll feel the same way.
Great point. Thank you, sir. Any other comments? Just to make sure there's no other comments, to have a call for questions.
I'll call for the question.
To have a second?
Second.
Oh, we're ready. I've had the call for the questions. We're ready to vote on Proclamation 1632 as amended. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chairman Teague.
Okay. Yesterday, the agency presented the recommendations for Proclamation 16-33 to the Wildlife Committee. At this time, we ask the Commission to adopt Proclamation 16-33, Wildlife Management Area Hunting Seasons, Limits, and Miscellaneous Regulations, with the following amendments as understood. First Amendment, deleting the change that would allow hiking on Bridgestone, Firestone during the archery-only hunts. So basically would not change anything from what it was the previous year. Second Amendment would be to allow hiking on the designated Cumberland Trails State Park portion of the Catoosa Wildlife Management Area. Those were the only two amendments that I had noted.
Wildlife Committee voted, and I moved to approve Proclamation 16-33 concerning WMA hunting as amended.
I had a second. Who'd have a second? Commissioner Baker. Is there any discussion within the commission?
So how does it read right now? How would it read as amended?
Mark,
On
this proclamation, we've amended.
1633, we amended it so that we did not follow the agency recommendation with regard to Bridgestone, Firestone, is that correct?
correct.
But we agreed with the Catoosa amendment proposed by Commissioner Bledsoe, as I recall.
Correct.
And that's how it stands. Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Ripley, if you'd like, Kurt Miles can read the wordage on that.
No, I just, I thought that's what we'd done. I just want to make sure that's where we were. Thank you.
I am floored nobody made a dog collar comment. Mr. Ripley, but we're going to move on. It's
Haven't done that yet.
Squirrel dog.
Squirrel dog, excuse me.
Don't talk about squirrel dogs.
Are there any other questions or comments by the commission on Proclamation 16-33? Any comments or questions from the public or staff? Hearing none, I believe we are ready to vote. All in favor of Proclamation 16-33 indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? The ayes have it. Proclamation 1633, the WMA hunting season limits and miscellaneous regulations, passes. Commissioner Teague.
Yesterday, the agency presented the recommendations for Proclamation 16-34 to the Wildlife Committee. At this time, we ask the Commission to adopt Proclamation 16-34, hunting seasons on national wildlife refuges and other federal areas.
Commissioner Cannon, the Wildlife Committee voted, and I recommend approval of proclamation 16-34.
Have a motion by Commissioner Teague, a second by Commissioner Swan. Is there any discussion within the commission? Any discussion by the public or staff? Hearing none, I believe we are ready to vote. All in favor of proclamation 1634 as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Proclamation 1634, hunting seasons and bag limits on select national wildlife refuges and other federal areas has been approved. Commissioner Teague.
Yesterday, the agency presented the recommendations for Proclamation 16-35 to the Wildlife Committee. At this time, we ask the Commission to adopt Proclamation 16-35, statewide fur bearer hunting and trapping seasons and bag limits.
Chairman Cannon, the Wildlife Committee voted, and I recommend passage of proclamation 16-35.
Have a motion by Commissioner Teague, second by Commissioner Swan to approve Proclamation 1635 as presented. Are there any questions on the commission? Any questions by the public or staff? Hearing none, I consider that we're ready to vote. All in favor of Proclamation 1635, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Proclamation 1635, statewide fur bear hunting and trapping season and bag limits has been approved. Commissioner Teague.
Chief Goodman.
May I ask a question right quick on this we just passed?
Commissioner Cox is recognized.
I forgot to ask it yesterday, but I get complaints from folks that fish the rivers and have ponds and things that the otters are absolutely wearing our fish out and just eating all the fish in their ponds and whatever. I don't know how often you look at that, but I would appreciate it if you would, the Wildlife Division would kind of think about maybe expanding some of that take, or I'm not sure how they can take them now. I guess that legally they can shoot them or trap them or whatever, but that seems to be a growing problem in some of the smaller rivers and private lakes around. So it's getting to be pretty tough on the fish. So I'd appreciate if you kind of.
We will be sure to do that.
Thank you, Commissioner Cox. Commissioner Teague.
Yesterday, the agency presented the recommendations for Proclamation 16-36 to the Wildlife Committee. At this time, we ask the Commission to adopt Proclamation 16-36, manner and means of hunting, taking, and trapping.
Commissioner Cannon, the Wildlife Committee voted, and I recommend passage of proclamation 16-36, manner and means.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Teague, second by Commissioner Cox for the approval of Proclamation 1636 as presented. Any discussion within the commission? Any discussion within the agency or the public? Hearing none, I consider that we're ready to vote. All in favor of Proclamation 1636 indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Proclamation 1636, manner and means of hunting, taking, and trapping, as presented, has been approved. Commissioner Teague.
Chief Goodman.
Yesterday, the agency presented the recommendations for Proclamation 16-37 to the Wildlife Committee. At this time, we ask the Commission to adopt Proclamation 16-37, Holston Army Ammunition Plant, Waterfowl Refuge.
Chairman Cannon, the Wildlife Committee voted, and I recommend passage of proclamation 16-37.
I have a second and then a motion. We're just going to go with the motion from Commissioner Teague, then back to Commissioner Baker on the second. Are there any comments from the commission? We had a false start there. Sorry, folks. Any comments from public or the agency? Hearing none, I believe we are ready to vote. All in favor of Proclamation 1637 as presented, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Proclamation 1637, Holston Army Ammunition Plant, Waterfowl Refuge, proclamation has been approved.
That concludes the proclamations that we are presenting to the commission today.
Unless anyone has a comment?
Before you leave there,
Sure.
Commissioner Bledsoe just looked up, evidently there's a CITES tag that's required on an otter. Why?
May I call Roger Applegate, probably best can address that question.
Yes, the CITES is actually a federal treaty that is used. It's sort of connected to the Endangered Species Act and a bunch of things.
Yep.
So the complicating factor is that is required because of federal law. And so we issue those tags free of charge, and that's required to go onto otter. And it's used to make sure that any otter that are taken legally within the United States. And so they're the North American otter as opposed to sort of look-alike species that occur in other parts of the world. And so that's something that we have to do.
Okay, thank you.
Question. So a taxidermist mounting an otter legally that otter has to have that tag on it?
Yes, that's correct. And so we provide those. Those are free of charge to us, and we provide them out there for that use.
Okay. I got a feeling that's news to a lot of taxidermists.
It might be. It's also, might add, it's required on bobcat. Those are the two species that come under that category.
That's it.
The commission recognizes Vice Chair Bill Cox, Chair, who will be overseeing the Budget Committee action today. Chairman Cox.
Bill Reeves. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yesterday, the Budget Committee approved the agency recommendation to expand the budget by $313,110 for State Wildlife Grant 15 and $7,700 for the Snake Fungal Disease Grant that we have money waiting to be incorporated into the budget for.
Mr. Chairman, the Budget Committee recommends and I move approval of the budget expansion that Bill described.
Have a motion by Commissioner Cox, second by Commissioner Swan. Point of clarification, that did not show up in the agenda. This is a fiscal year 17 budget expansion, just so there's no misunderstanding. Is there any discussion within the commission? Any discussion by the public or staff? Hearing none, I believe we're ready to vote. All in favor of the budget expansion related to the State Wildlife Grant and Snake Disease Grant, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The budget expansion of $313,110 for the State Wildlife Grant and $7,700 State Snake Disease Grant, all federal dollars, has been approved. Commissioner Cox.
Mr. Applegate.
Thank you. Yesterday, the Budget Committee approved a request to expand the fiscal 17 budget, $155,000 for chronic wasting disease testing and response operations. And at this time, I'd ask that the commission approve that.
Mr. Chairman, the Budget Committee recommends and I move approval of the $155,000 expense for chronic wasting disease.
I have a motion by Commissioner Cox, second by Commissioner Swan. Budget expansion related to chronic wasting disease. Any discussion amongst the commission? Any in the public or the staff? Hearing none, I believe we are ready to vote. All in favor of the budget expansion of $155,000 related to chronic waste disease indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. A budget expansion of $155,000 for fiscal year 17 to address chronic wasting disease sampling, 75% of which will be funded through federal dollars, has been approved. Commissioner Cox.
Chief Goodland.
Yesterday, the Wildlife and Budget Committees approved a budget for a wild turkey research project covering 6 years. We are asking the Commission to approve a total budget for that 6-year project of $1,018,325. However, to be distributed annually in accordance to the budget that was presented yesterday. So the fiscal year 17 amount would be $176,127.
Mr. Chairman, the Budget Committee recommends, and I move approval of the $1 million turkey research project.
Commissioner Swan, you got a fast trigger. I have a motion and a second for budget expansion. It's basically twofold. We are approving an overall budget of $1,018,325 for the turkey research project. Would you mind putting the slide up that showed the distribution of costs, just so that's a matter of record? And while he is doing that, is there any discussion amongst the commission? Is there any discussion by staff or by the public? Hearing none, I assume that we are ready to vote. All in favor of a budget approval of $1,017,325, which reflects a budget expansion in fiscal year 17 of $176,127, indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Budget of $1,018,325, all of which is, which is federal dollars and a match by the University of Tennessee, Knoxville regarding the Turkey Research Project, has been approved, including the budget expansion for fiscal year 17. Commissioner Cox.
Mr. Peterson, and while you're there, will you cue up the little 5-minute video if you still got it on your?
I may have to get Don King to show me where he's got this thing hidden.
Not Don, but I'll try.
What's it doing?
It's not playing.
You broke it.
Imagine a place like no other, right here in Tennessee, where misty mornings welcome a new day of endless possibilities. Forests that invite you to explore. Secluded lakes and trails inviting you to reflect. Roads that are designed to reveal and surprise. Buildings with a unique statement of place and purpose. This is Lone Oaks Farm, and it is a place like no other. Lone Oaks is a place of exquisite beauty, just waiting to be experienced. There's over 1,200 rolling acres to explore, including 16 lakes and ponds, 5 creeks and waterfalls, 15 miles of winding limestone gravel drives for a journey of discovery, 15 miles of trails. Whether it's horseback riding, jogging, or hiking, the spirit is renewed. At Lone Oaks, everything is natural, and everything here is meticulously planned to come naturally. Imagine a place to broaden horizons, seek knowledge, and expand promise. That's the vision of the 4-H Center at Lone Oaks Farm. to have the best 4-H center in the world. 4-H is the youth outreach program at the UT Institute of Agriculture. It's where over 170,000 young Tennesseans in 4th through 12th grade learn how to improve themselves and their communities through unique and diverse educational opportunities. 4-H not only teaches, but inspires, and for many, it's their first exposure to the concept of higher education and a lifetime of learning. The 4-H motto is to make the best better, and what better place than Lone Oaks Farm to make this a reality? Here in this beautiful corner of Hardeman County, we can do what Tennessee 4-H has done for more than a century, and a century to come. We can reinvent our heritage of 4-H camping in Tennessee, a place where learning is paired with fun and lifelong friendships. 4-H is more than a club or a camp, it's life-changing. The 4-H Center at Lone Oaks will be a catalyst to seek knowledge, to do more, to change lives. Here at this amazing place and working farm, we can introduce young people to agriculture, to the outdoors, and to science in a way that is unmatched. Through this place, we will open minds to bigger horizons. Together, we can live and carry out the 4-H pledge. Lone Oaks will be a center of enrichment, education, and events. This pastoral setting needs people and needs to be shared by all, not just a select few. Whether it's a camp, conference, retreat, wedding, or reunion, time at Lone Oaks is to be savored. In this one-of-a-kind special place, ideas are born, horizons expanded, spirits renewed. Time at Lone Oaks is a gift. Here, visitors embrace our heritage and advance innovation. After all, the goal of Lone Oaks is a transformational experience. Through its 3 concepts, 4-H camp, conference center, and inn, Lone Oaks will be a self-sustaining education center. This one-of-a-kind location will expose kids to the concept of STEM learning. These key concepts will drive future innovation in the United States and keep our nation competitive in the world marketplace. As a center of education, Lone Oaks will also be a partner in the Governor's Drive to 55 program, a challenge for 55% of Tennesseans to have a college degree or certificate by 2025. This is more than just higher education, but a mission for Tennessee's workforce and economic development. As a unique center of agricultural education, Lone Oaks can play a role in meeting the Governor's Rural Challenge. This 10-year strategic plan aims to raise awareness of the importance of agriculture to our state's economy, encompassing all aspects of agriculture and the foodways that make Tennessee great. Lone Oaks is more than a place of stunning natural beauty. There is a goal here: be the best center for education, innovation, and transformation in the world. Or don't do it at all. Imagine taking part in something that will be unlike anything before it. Imagine the possibilities. Imagine being part of Lone Oaks, a place like no other.
Director Carter, you've got a microphone. You might comment about Lone Oaks just a little bit. You've been out there working with Ben a good bit.
Thank you, Mr. Cox. Lone Oaks was a privately held farm until just very recently. University of Tennessee bought the facility for about a little less than half of what the developer had put into it. We've been there on several different occasions, working with our fisheries people, have already been involved with them in the management of the
ponds and the lakes that they have. You might have heard that they have 19 lakes and ponds that are scattered throughout the thing, some much larger than others. All of them have fishing opportunities. They also have some kayaking and canoeing exercises to have the folks there. They have all the species that you would imagine that are there. The bigger facility that you saw has the world's largest museum of hand tools that the owner has collected over time, and that's a part of it as well. They have a facility that we can meet at. In fact, in October of this year, our plan is to have a miniature version of the Weekend for Wildlife. It's very similar to Georgia's thing, that we're going to try to build some support for an annual thing that we would have at Lone Oaks. And in the future, they will have a training conference there with 2 different style of inns to accommodate corporate retreats and those kind of things for people who would come. The mayor of Hardeman County has already contacted both schools there, and both are implementing SCTP programs on each end of the county. He will come to Lone Oak to shoot. The shooting facility that you're appropriating money for has 2 entrances. The main entrance is off of the public roads for those people who come in that aren't a part of Lone Oaks to shoot. The other part of those people who are part of Lone Oaks, for whatever reason they happen to be there, have a different entrance, but everybody is utilizing the same range, and it will be a public range as well as that belonging to the 4-H Center. They have a plan going forward that they would institute several different types of wildlife management practices, and that this place would be not only a place to attract wildlife, but for people who wanted to see what wildlife management would be in cooperation with a working farm, that they could put that in place, and you'd be able to view that as well. So the University of Tennessee has been a great partner in that. As Mr. Cox said, Ben West, who used to be the UT Extension person for West Tennessee, has been singled out to become actually the manager of Lone Oaks until they get it up and running, and it is supposed to be self-sustaining, so that the people utilizing the thing would actually pay not only for the everyday thing, but for the future and for the maintenance and the expansions that they have planned. So it's a really neat piece of property. I would encourage you, if you ever get the chance to go there, it's certainly worth the time to look. It's everything the video showed you and more. So thank you.
Thank you. I wanted everybody to kind of see that and hear his comments, because we're asked to spend a lot of money, going to come back probably and spend some more in the future, but it's a very special place.
Yesterday, we made a request to expand the budget to the tune of $2,631,600 for the shooting range at Lone Oaks to become part of this 4-H camp, and the match will be made by UT and Hardeman County government, and so it's all flow through federal dollars, no licensed dollars spent, and we request that expansion take place.
The Budget Committee recommends, and I move approval of the budget expansion for Lone Oaks.
Second.
I have a motion and a second from, I couldn't see him, Commissioner Bledsoe, for budget expansion related to the Lone Oaks shooting range. Is there any discussion within the commission? Any discussion by the public or additional discussion by staff? Hearing none, I consider that we're ready to vote. All in favor of a budget expansion for $2,631,600 for the Lone Oaks shooting range indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Budget expansion of $2,631,600, being all federal funds, has been approved. It is noted that even though it does not show up this way on the agenda, this is a fiscal year 17 budget expansion.
Thank you.